good night to all of you. Yes, I know that we're late and sometimes these things happen, but it's always good to be with you on advancing the cause. Tonight we're here with you and we've got a power-packed program. So those of you who are already logged in, call up your friend, tell them advancing the cause is on. Tonight we're going to be, the stage is going to be shared with quite a few powerful men and women that we have around here. And I want to say to all those who would have celebrated birthdays from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, happy birthday to you. To those who are celebrating wedding anniversaries and other anniversaries, congratulations to you. And for those who are sorrowing at this time, our heartfelt condolences. And yes, I must say good night to my friends down there in Lane Avenue, and my friends way out there in New Amsterdam, and my friends in Linden, and my friends in Bartica, and my friends right down here in Georgetown, and those way out there in Madia. Good night to you. And of course, we can't forget our friends who are always logged in from North America. And yes, we have our friends from Switzerland and Turkey who are always logged in. Good night to you, and it's good to have you here. So tonight we're not going to be sharing a whole lot on our highlights for this evening, like I would normally do, the highlights that I would give you. But we're going to go right into the program. It's local government elections and after elections, and the fever, the bubbles, and everything is still there. And so we want to give you some more updates on what would have transpired last Monday and what is happening now. And so this evening, we're going to be looking at local government elections 2023 projections or reflections and projections. And so sharing this stage with me this evening are so far five powerful young persons that we have. And wait, let me include myself, six of us. Six of us. And so we're going to ask the operator to bring them right on screen, and then we'll have you take a good look of them. And I know that when you would have looked at them, you're going to conclude by saying the APNU is in good hands. And right away, we have there my comrade, Sharma Solomon. He never fails to show up. And you know that he's been fighting there a long, long time. Welcome, my brother. And then, of course, we have the ever shining, ever bright Mahela McCalman from New Amsterdam. Night, night to you, and welcome to our program. And of course, the operator is going to bring the others on. We have, oh my gosh, the man with the action. Well, I don't know between you and Sharma who got more action, but the man with a whole lot of vibes, Comrade Kidway Copeland. And we have joining us too is my dear brother there. This is a big brother, and we've got to shout him out. And this is my brother from New Amsterdam, Brother Javon Stevens. Welcome to Advancing the Cause. And here tonight we're talking local government 2023, preparations, reflections, and projections. And of course, let me start off by saying congratulations to all of you who are sharing the stage here with us. I know that we have two others who are going to be joining us at some point, but congratulations to all of you. You took us where we knew that we were supposed to have been. I know that there were lots and lots of all kinds of things happening, and we couldn't get when some persons thought we couldn't achieve this feat, but we were always confident that New Amsterdam is ours, Linden is ours, Georgetown is ours, Madia and Bartica, they belong to us. As a matter of fact, Guyana is ours, and we will continue to champion that cause. And so I'm not sure who would want to start off, but my brothers and my sister, any one of you can start off with your opening remarks.
All right, I guess the big guy can start first. Good evening, everybody. Coretta, thanks for having me on your program this evening. I'm all the way in New Amsterdam, but I want to say that we in New Amsterdam, we are very happy. We're very proud of our efforts at LGE 2023. Our goal when we started was to ensure that New Amsterdam remained green. At the end of it, New Amsterdam did stay green. So we are very happy here at New Amsterdam. We know that a lot of work needs to be done, and we are prepared to put in the hard yards to ensure that development continues in the ancient town.
Thanks. I'm not sure who else is going to be joining us. Who's
Since we
coming
are
on now?
since we are
Yes.
seeking New Amsterdam, sorry, I think it's only fitting that I come in here. New
I know.
Amsterdam belongs
Good.
to every citizen in New Amsterdam. And when we say that it belongs to every citizen, we are saying that democracy must reign. We are saying that we're not allowing a one government rulership in New Amsterdam. We are saying that the people's voice must be heard, and it was heard at our last local government election 2023. We are thanking all those supporters wherever you came from, whichever part of New Amsterdam you came out and cast those votes. A partnership for national unity. Thank you for your support. And as we continue, we will ensure that service is above self for the people of New Amsterdam.
I share similar sentiments. Georgetown is not for sale, and we saw that after the polls will be closed 6 p.m. June 12th, when people, despite all of the bribery, despite all of the attempts to coerce people and hold persons at ransom, people of Georgetown understand that it was only a political gimmick. They understand even the play fees that they started to do just a week before election, the footpaths and the drainage that they started to do just a week before election with only some form of bribery to get them to vote for a party that only really wants to control this country from top to bottom. But people of Georgetown were very wise and they made the right decision. And we retained Georgetown, our stronghold, just as we did in New Amsterdam, just as we retained it. And that is one of the things that I'm sure is hurting the PPP. Because people, there was a talk before time that the PPP has oil money now. So there's no way that we can beat them. But with all the oil money and all the bribery that they tried to do in Georgetown, in New Amsterdam, in Bartico, in Maja, and in New Amsterdam, in Linden, it has not succeeded against people's power. As we always say, money don't vote, people do.
Uh-huh. And so that was my brother Copeland there. And I have
Yes.
my brother Dylan here. The brother
I
from
want to pick up
Linden.
from what Comrade Kebwe said in terms of what these local government elections have offered not only the coalition, the APNU, and Guyana at large, an opportunity to see where proper right organization, any amount of that, is able to defeat an unlimited amount of resources. I think that is crucial as you move forward. And that sort of confidence was absolutely necessary to restore in people's faith of hope that notwithstanding these many challenges that they're going through, that they can make, once organized, decisions that will allow them to be able to challenge government in terms of their position in development of these communities, and also be able to advance on behalf of many of these communities the issues affecting them. And these are in line with, of course, constitutional obligation of the government to have stakeholder involvement in these matters that are affecting people. And I think that is what the message that resonated with people across Guyana, that they're dissatisfied with the management of the affairs of the people of this nation at the community level, and how the PPP is managing the resources of the state more so as an isle economy, and with so much within the treasury. And those are the sort of resonating messages that caught on. And I believe it is important for us to build on as we move forward from the local government success within these towns, notwithstanding Jack Dio's attempt to spin the information that is actually the victory of these towns and an embarrassment to the investment made by the People's Progressive Party in believing they can buy these towns rather than developing them in a very mutual way in accordance to the Constitution and the will of the people.
But I want to start off by asking this question. What were some of the challenges you faced in these elections or leading up to these elections? I know for sure that we had these towns are towns that are controlled, that were won resoundingly by the coalition, by the APNU. And so we know that one of the factors was starvation. The town was not given the kind of finances they needed to execute their mandates so that citizens can live comfortably. But other than that, what were some of the other challenges you faced leading up to these elections?
I don't want to be the one only on the floor, but I want to take a specific matter of our challenge that is unique. The PPP opened the campaign on the mass media arrangement in Linden. And for those who know the uniqueness of what is taking place in Linden with the one TV station situation, they were able to profile their candidates almost exclusively every single day on the television station. Hits and Jams owned the lone radio station in the town. So we were completely shut out of mass media, but I believe it provided us an excellent opportunity, which made our campaign even more aggressive in terms of how we took to the streets and carried that campaign, which was a real hand-to-hand sort of combat arrangement with people on the ground and having our ability to engage on matters that really affected people. So those were some challenges that really provided opportunities, even though PUP thought they posed those as challenge to us, including resource domination. The PPP followed every single initiative we took in our campaign. However, they were able to amplify what they were doing because they had the resources. I remember it was only Saturday, the PPP had 8 trucks in the 8 constituencies at almost $400,000 a pop. Those were the sort of things that we came up against. But I believe, like I said, with proper organization and mobilization of people, I believe they see hope in defeating any such machinery or limited resources.
Mhm.
Even prior to LG
Understanding that
2023, the
even though
council
your
of Newhampton
arbitration,
operated with their hands tied behind their back all the time. Whereas resources from central government was non-existent. So the council was unable to even do the usual programs in the town. So at the beginning of our campaign, we made a decision that we will campaign on policies, we will campaign direct to the people. We know we could not match the PP financially in any way
Mhm.
because they had resources 30 to 1 compared to us. So our candidates were prepared to do the hard work with one-on-one, bottom house to bottom house, yard to yard, house to house, meeting everyone, talking to everyone on a personal level. So as to ensure that our message meet directly to the persons. We could not compete with the PP via social media campaigns, printed media, or even television or radio. You know,
Mhm.
but what happened is that our candidates were very passionate. They believe in our dream. They believe in the vision of the APNU. So they work direct one-on-one with the residents of this town. While many would say that we lost seats, we gained votes as against the last LGE. We gained more votes than we did at the last LGE, which is a
Okay.
plus. And to do that with the amount of money the people were splurging in New Amsterdam, I think it's a monumental achievement. And I
Mhm.
want to take this very opportunity to shout out our hard-working team in New Amsterdam and to give a big thank you. As you can see in the motorcade there, residents are happy. Residents are happy that the APNU is alive and well, and we are united. And I want to encourage all my colleagues, Kibri, Sharma, and others. Once we stay united and stay connected to the people,
Mhm.
we will be okay. That's my message. We will be okay once we stay united and connected to our people.
Kid, where could we have you?
If I may jump in, yes, if I may jump in now as well. You know, being an oil-rich nation and the people not benefiting from the oil until this day, I believe people are strapped for cash. A lot of persons are seeking employment. We understand the unemployment rate in India, and it's still very low, despite all of the resources we have. The PVP would have utilized their state power. We have the 10-day workers. They would hold them at ransom, letting them know that they can't go out and vote, or they have to show that they vote for the PPP to make sure that they keep their jobs. And goes back to, if you understand that 70% of employment and even contract is handed over by the government, it's controlled by the government. And they told person grants, if you want to continue to get contract, if you want to continue to get money, you have to vote for PPP. You have to show some level of proof. You have to stay away from the campaign. You cannot endorse the PNC. You cannot endorse the APNA. So we had a challenge whereby persons were afraid of losing their livelihood, losing their bread and butter, because the PPP were willing to, without apology, take bread out of people's mouth just because they wanted to support or align themselves with the party of their choice. So you had that level of proportion in Georgia. I'm sure it's across the board in Amsterdam, in Linden, in Bartik, Madio, any other party they are. So that is the policy that they can play. So we had a task on our hands whereby we had to deal who are saying we really support the APNU, but my job, I'm really concerned about my children who have to eat at the end of the day. I have rent to pay. So persons were put in a very peculiar position whereby it was hard for them. As much as they want to support their party, they were concerned about their livelihood. And it goes back to the staff and the main city council, it goes back to how they would have treated people who would have been a part of public, who were servants who were locked off. We had people who were artists, singers. Tracy is one of the persons who was being doing work and leaving pushed out just because he would have done things that is supportive to a different party. So we had to deal with that challenge, and I think that's one of the greatest challenges. Taking bread to somebody's mouth is very, very dangerous, especially in a country like today with a high cost of living. But nevertheless, despite all of that, people understand what was at risk. They understand what would happen if we had a PPP controlling the municipal council in Georgetown or controlling Linden or controlling New Amsterdam. We understood that if they should ever get their hands on that, look at them at the central level. Look how they want to go persons at ransom. Look how they try to buy people up. Much as they should have local power, they do even worse. So persons were cognizant despite the fact that it was tough. It is a threat to their livelihood. They did not make the mistake, which would be a more threat to them in the long
Mhm. And so we have joined us with my brother Philip Drayton, a young man coming from the field there and making a whole lot of impact there. Good night to you, my brother, and welcome again to this forum. We would want to hear from you some of the challenges that you would have experienced during your campaigning leading up to the local government elections.
Hey, good night, family, once again, comrades. Thanks for having me. Um, some of the primary challenges that we faced here, particularly in constituency one, and I'm certain it's among the entire Georgetown or perhaps the entire country, is the level of victimization members of society would actually face dealing with the
Mhm.
People's Progressive Party. Separate and apart from that, what I found is that there's a lot of members of society who is fearful of this government, right? Their heart lies somewhere else as it relates to the developmental process, what they want to see within their communities and these kinds of stuff. But they're afraid to speak out because of course, victimization, and to an
Uh-huh.
extent, they're being threatened to as well. So that's some of the primary challenges we will be facing here in constituency one. Separate and apart from that, when the People Progressive Party send their personnels throughout constituency one, and particularly would start issuing contracts, we've had issues with that too as well, because it didn't unite persons. What it actually did is destroy the relationships between persons within the constituencies, because finances are being promised to substantial amount of persons. Also, what we find is that when those contracts are completed, when the work is being done, only a fraction of those finances are being dispersed. So it causes a lot of chaos within our community here, primarily in Tiger Bay, that has been happening. Separate and apart from that, one of the most crucial concept or problematic situation that we are faced is the political optics that is being implemented by the People's Progressive Party. What you find happening is that they're using social media as a tool to simply just pass misinformation. So, to an extent, what they're trying to do is just to insult the intelligence of members of society. We find this happening a lot. A lot of misinformation is being placed out there. A lot of propaganda news is being put out there. And as a party, as an APNU, what we actually try to do is to see how best we can be strategic in this war that we are fighting. I think we've implemented it effectively. We've came out successful. But the People Progressive Party, as my comrade here, had all the unlimited resources at their hand reach. You know, when the when external or international bodies make certain requisitions to kind of to ensure that the electoral reform can be a successful one. One of the primary objectives is to see how best they kind of place a financial ceiling when it comes to campaigning. Because if by chance there is an entity or a body or a party that has unlimited resource at their hand reach, right? There's a 90% chance that any external party apart from them would not even stand a chance in the electoral run. So, based on the fact that we, the APNU, came out successful, it says a lot of things. One, it says that the people are politically conscious. And making a society politically conscious doesn't happen from propaganda news or trying to have political optics on social media. Making persons conscious of what's happening from a political perspective only happens if you can go house to house and door to door and knock on persons and find out exactly what are the situations and circumstances being faced and see how best you can sit with them and actually what we would consider here in Georgetown as reason, with factual information and life experiences too as well. So I think this was a major positive for us at the APNU. These are some of the challenges that we face within constituency. One and I think we've been facing it through the entire country too as well.
Good. Lady Mahaline?
Yes. So, Miss McDonald, it is important that we understand what we're up against. It's like David and Goliath for the elections that has been passed. Why am I saying that? We had limited, in every word that describes the word limited resources.
Yes.
But we were successful at these elections because we were able to strategize. The fact remaining the same, now we were unable to have the access to resources like the PPP because let me tell you, contracts were second to none in New Amsterdam. Every candidate or almost every candidate of the list, and we've been able to prove that, were given access to contracts. Candidates, the friends of candidates, and so on. And we have been exposing these things from time to time. So contracts were second to none. Resources pumped into the elections to garner especially our young people were second to none as well. Every store that existed in New Amsterdam were targeted. One of the constituencies with the highest amount of young people was the main target. You had things like, okay, 5 canneries of cocoa rice given to our people, and they think that these things are, of some fun. For me, it's more insulting to our people.
So, Mahaline, before you go on, so are you saying that the PPP were confirming what their supporters were saying all along, that a certain group of people are hungry bellies, that's why you had all these cocoa prize?
Man. And that's exactly what they did. So if we are to look at the results, if we are to look at the facts remain the same, that in some constituencies, like constituency 2, which is on Guys Avenue, you had more new voters coming out. Because while they're claiming that they won the constituency. Well, they haven't claimed they won the constituency. Um, but we find that there are more new voters coming out. And this is because they were specially targeted. The PPP specially set up campfires and so on and so on. Like I said, every resource that there was, they plunged it into this campaign, and they campaigned as though it was a national election and not just a local government election. Why am I saying that? Every day you had ministers perusing up and down in Region 6. That has never happened before. Every street in New Amsterdam right now has been under repair or is marked to be under repair. Now you give a council $18 million per year as a subvention. And one road in New Amsterdam, when we check the contract, costs $15 million. How can a council do all the roads in New Amsterdam per year, and you're giving them $80 million, and to do one road, you are awarding contracts of about $50 million? So we have the facts, we have the evidence to prove that the PPP has been holding the municipality hostage because they want to ensure that there's timely progress in New Amsterdam. But you know what? The people of New Amsterdam read right through that. The people of New Amsterdam are very smart. They're very intelligent. And like I've always said, in this 21st century, where technology is everything, we can only fool people so much and no more. We can only fool those who want to be fooled. And so, sorry? So in New Amsterdam, it is important that we understand, while they would have garnered more seats in New Amsterdam, we are prepared to go again, because we would have done that house to house, every door, every yard, every gate we would have knocked on and speak to every resident, so we understand what the issues are on the ground. And if I may throw this in quickly, we are very much familiar with the fact that these people are ensuring that they keep public servants, and even every guy needs pay at a certain amount, so that when they dash a little 40,000 or 100,000 at you, because the population is so starved of resources, it seems like a big amount. But the reality is, comparing to, they give you a 40,000, for example, in the cash grant that we see, that is the first time they've ever shared it at this time. For example, they give you a 40,000, but they give their friends 15 million and 70 million contract and 40 million contract. How is that fair to Guyanese and the Guyanese population? So we're saying that the people would have read right through that. While, of course, our young people were the target, our young people, we have work to do with our young people to bring them up to scratch with what is happening. But we have seen in New Amsterdam that the people, our support base, is very, very happy. Our support base is rejoicing with us at every given point because they understand what happens if the PPP takes over this town. They understand the dictatorship that is going to happen. They understand the punishment. Because let me tell you this. The PPP has no concern and they don't want New Amsterdam for progress. What they want is only control. If they want New Amsterdam, some of the projects they've been doing on the Palmyra area, we are saying it could have been done right in New Amsterdam, and we could ensure that our people benefit. But you know what? They are taking those projects and those lands that they have had at Palmyra, and they are building that because they want to ensure that they have control over what happens. So sooner or later, they're going to desert New Amsterdam and take whatever they want at Palmyra.
Well, I'm happy that we're hearing this and that our viewers are understanding exactly what is happening. We had 23 years and we didn't see a whole lot of this happening. But when we look at what happened during the 3 solid years of the coalition, and persons want to compare what the coalition did, I know the coalition didn't do anything and the coalition didn't do anything, but the PPP had 23 years and now they're having 3 more years so far, but with oil monies. And when we look at what the coalition did during their 3 solid years, I am sure if we were to compare that to the 23 years, if the coalition had oil money, then persons would have been living way up in the sky. Let me put it there. But the other thing is, I'm happy that you did mention too that in every area in Linden, in New Amsterdam, in Georgetown, in Madia, in Barticle, our citizens there were starved for resources. This government, and I want you folks to comment on this. This government is a vindictive government. And I think my brother Sharma said that, or somebody else said it, that persons were scared of being discriminated against. And this is how the PPP are. This is how they operate. They are wicked. And as we speak, I can say to you that this morning I received messages from residents in Georgetown who had contracts to clean trenches and so on. When they turned up this morning, they were told that the contracts came to an end, that the works are finished. And this is how the PPP operate. And they just go out there and blast this one Guyana thing because they know two words. But in actual fact, they want to have a one rule, a one party rule. And as long as you are not up to that, then they will sideline you. Anybody can comment on this.
Let me say on this point, the nominations illusion that PVP attempted to promote, it took full advantage of that because it, in essence, started the 10 days workers, it started those small contract workers to say to them, if you don't participate, then this is the consequence you will face. In fact, we had voice notes went out to these workers saying to them that they must don these red t-shirts. So that is the environment that we knew that the campaign of the PPP, very unsophisticated as it was built on. It was built on threats, intimidations, and extortion. And that sort of shallowness in terms of how they project what they have done in communities. And that became the central focus of so many years with the resources. Then the measurement becomes show what you have done, not only in communities, but now the lives of the people who are even championing on behalf of the People's Progressive Party to say, even in your own life, what can you show as part of that advancement? And I think that was a checkmate challenge that brought out so many realities in terms of the campaign as the messaging went forward. And people were able to gravitate to that reality of, in essence, you have the treasury at your disposal, fastest growing economy in the world at 65% based on IMF reports. You, Jack Dio, and your government is saying, this is how we are growing based on oil wells that we are finding. This is what the treasury holds, almost 4 trillion in GDP, and you're paying 5% to the working class men and women. So then with all of that, show us then how this country is being managed in the interests of the average man and woman. And I believe that was a task that they could not have proved. And it is for reasons like that, I believe the message must continue because it has moved from a dissatisfaction of those voters who have expressed themselves in this local government election to want to take action in terms of what they showed at the polls. And I believe it is a message that must be built on because it is a message that resonated. So I believe the PPP recognized, and that's why you saw Jack Dio coming out yesterday to distort the numbers, which doesn't really represent, in Linden's case in particular, a justification for the sort of investment made by the People's Progressive Party. Now, he is making the claim of any increase in votes, especially in Linden, as opposed to the increase in numbers of votes we got overall, could be accredited to maybe, based on the data we have analyzed, to show 3 areas where they can make that claim. And we believe the claim is in the first area, that the party have dipped back into the reservoir of vote voters coming out of the 2020 elections, of where they have a reservoir of about 4,000 voters in the region, and in the tongue just about over 2,000. They have also looked at the new voters on the new list of young people getting on the list, or you can look at crossover voters. But based on our data, it is the resource that they had at their availability that they were able to use and shepherd out of that reservoir of voters that they already had to keep them to the polls. So, in essence, the argument being made by Jagdio about an increase in 500% could easily be dismissed that it is 500% of your already existing voters that you got to the polls, and nothing new in terms of any crossover or even new voters that you got after the list. So I believe those are the sort of pushback when you take this message forward to show that the PPP is not a party that is that dominant to the extent that they can be beaten.
You know, I noticed the vice president. Uh, he was silent, very very silent, and then all of a sudden he resurrected like Lazarus, and he resurrected there, and he started spewing a whole lot of things out there. We know Jagdew, and we know that this man has a gift to mislead, a gift that is based on lies, and a gift that gives this barefaced image as if we're good. We have championed, we have won, we have made breakthroughs, and we've dived in, you know. And they in this era of technology, Javier has got to understand that those games that he tries to play every time and all the time, they're not working because people are reading straight through them. I know that we have been challenged with I heard them talking about the red wave and all the monies that they were spewing all over the place. But I'm happy that in Linden, the people in Linden said to them through their votes or by their votes that the monies you came here and scattered all over the place, it is our money and we have a right to take it. The people in New Amsterdam said the same thing to them. The people in Georgetown said the same thing to them. The people, and if you noticed, their campaign was not really shifted in other areas. They concentrated basically on 5 areas. And I'm happy that as a people, we were able to stand to the task. We were able to withstand all the challenges because, of course, like we said, we couldn't compete with their finances. We couldn't compete with their media platforms because they controlled all. And this is the one Guyana we're talking about. But in spite of, our message was out there, very, very clear. The people read and they understood. But tell me now that we are here, now that we have triumphed, where do we go from here?
All right. Talking from New Amsterdam again. Where do we go from here? We need to make serious, quick assessment of our present situation. Look at the support we had on the ground, and one which I need to unify our people. Sometimes we are our own enemies. Sometimes, and the lack of information is bothering our people or hampering our people on the ground. So we need to ensure we do not stop the campaigning at the moment. We need to continue going and meet with our residents, talking with our residents, and preparing our residents for the next election, the bigger election. We need to
Mhm,
stay in tune with our residents because um, the people will come again. They will come,
mhm,
but we have to stay connected with our people. It is now obvious that you can spend as much money you want to spend. The people want to know where your heart is. The people want to see in a vision. You know, the people has done nothing for New Amsterdam over the past 20, 25 years. The
Mhm.
PP closed down bauxite in Berbice. The PP only recently said they'll make sugar sweet again, but yet at Palmyra, all the cane lands is bulldozed, and they're bringing in, they're selling those lands as commercial lands for big businesses. So the people is all they're about is hoodwinking their support base. So while they're hoodwinking their support base, we have to come go to them, tell them the truth, and open their eyes. And once
Mhm.
we do that, be rest assured we'll be right where we need to be come 2025. The message is stay connected, stay true to your people.
Mhm. Mhm. What are we doing in Linden? I think Sharma got knocked off there. Mahela, we'll hear you.
All right. It is quite simple. Going forward, we ensure we have all the data at hand. We will do our analysis to see who are our target audience and ensure that we put action into that. Most importantly, we understand that service to our people is going to be paramount, it's going to be most important. We're not just taking office for because we are office holders, but we will ensure that we serve every person of New Amsterdam. And most importantly, our boots on the ground efforts, our effort to go to every house and understand their needs will strengthen, will step up because we understand that while we don't have the resources, we have the capabilities. And that is what the PPP is lacking. They're lacking capabilities. And so they're throwing their monies in the faces of those people so that, of course, they will come out and they will support them. But the people in New Amsterdam is wise. The people, of course, ensure that they know what is happening on the ground. We will keep them abreast, we will keep them informed. And most importantly, we will ensure that our people are properly served. And even though we are lacking resources at the council, because of course we know they will continue to start our council. We will ensure that we up our game as it relates to whatever we can do on the ground and service to the people. So New Amsterdam can definitely look forward for better service in the next 3 years, and of course, we ensure that we will be seeing more of APNU on the ground.
Mhm.
Just to add to what you asked, Coretta MP, our program is in line with our constitutional application. Whether it's Chapter 2801 and how the government must honor its obligations of ensuring it involves the stakeholdership of the municipality in the development agenda of the people of the town. I believe that becomes our number one priority of if that is happening and how best that must happen. I don't think it's a question of what government should do for us. It is what government must do based in line with those principles. And on that, we want to ensure that we hold accountable on that mutual benefit and respect of where those institutions must relate to each other. I think that's our first principle. And the other being, how do we represent the um, interest of our community and those things that have been affecting them, the rights of our citizens, and if those rights are being respected, how socially our human capital and developments are occurring. And I think outside of that, then we want to advance the cause of our people. They have desires, they have aspirations. We want to ensure that we take on that constitutional approach where it allows for a consultative, inclusionary, and participatory approach of people and their developmental agenda. So I believe those are some of the things we want to outline clearly. And we want to take this very aggressive approach in terms of setting the agenda and interpreting for the people what occurred in local government, like I said earlier. In our preliminary assessment on running our data, it demonstrated that the PVP really went back into their reservoir of voters. Nothing to excite about, but where we must focus now on ensuring those voters who they continue to entice with state resources. How do we not only deal with that, but how do we now, when new voters get on the list, start to culture them in a way that says, this is how state must function. This is how a democratic society works. You have good governance, you have checks and balances in your municipality, and these sorts of things. And we believe, like before, that message which resonated will resonate for us to increase our numbers so that come the next election, we will do far better than we have. And I believe the argument being advanced by Jagdew is saying that the 500% coming out of that reservoir, which is not justified. If I had gotten $1 million, Guyana dollars, we would not have only gotten the 2 seats in, we would have probably won government. It is that meager of resources we work with. But I believe the effort to organize was that efficient and effective that it has given to us a template of what we must advance with. And I believe that is what we intend to use.
My brother Kibwe.
And just to comment, I believe our way forward is to be, of course, continue with boots on the ground. We can't disconnect ourselves from the people who have faced us in the elected positions that we hold today. When we started the campaign after nomination day, April 17th, people were glad to see the faces of the persons who represent them at the council. At least I know for sure all of our constituency candidates from 1 to 15 would have taken the same mantle, the same position as the leader of the opposition, leader of the PNCR would have taken to make sure that the politics and the elections are won on the ground, whereby we knock on every door possible and meet with every resident as possible. That's what we continue to do. Even after we've elected to this council, we continue to make sure that we keep in contact with the people. Because even though I'm a representative of the council, I cannot represent the council without the advice and assistance of the people in the community that I have to represent. More than that, myself and the team of the council will be applying pressure to this government, legal pressure for this, because the law is very clear. The money that they hold back from the council, trying to starve the council to show the council is incompetent, that is enshrined in the law. Local government is enshrined in the constitution. Those monies are owed to the mayor to the council. The PPP, of course, the so are trying to say all kind of things to find ways to hold back that money from us. More than the subvention that is owed to the council, the government itself owes taxes. We've heard from Narayan, the present mayor of Georgetown, who spoke extensively, and he has it on record, of how many taxes that the government buildings itself owes the various city council. So our job and our task is to make sure we represent people, of course, to apply pressure to this incompetent government. We believe that once we do the work on the ground, and of course, we work on the council and enforcing the laws that exist. And I think many of times, if you understand the PPP, they have no respect for law, they have no respect for democracy. And I'm tired of hearing persons talking about how the AP hasn't done anything for anybody. The only reason that people my age have seen local government elections is because of the AP and AFC after 2015 elections. We would have brought back local democracy to this country. The reason why the PPP was never interested, and they were not interested this time around, but they were forced to. We started back, and the international community and all eyes are on them. They had to at least play a role, and of course, use the coercive methods and trying and bribery to win the elections. But they were never interested of local democracy. We see what happened in 23 years of their ruling. They have never held local elections. They installed IMC. They put puppets in positions so they can control from Freedom House or from their ministries. And that is the same approach that they've taken even in this election. We saw candidates that could not speak on their own behalf. We had ministers at each rally, ministers at each party. I saw Minister, I think it was Ramsey, walking around in my area talking to people. They started to feel all in my area. But I wanted to see the candidates. And some of the persons who went and put fires in the people's gate, if you ask them any questions, they don't even know how many councils, how many seats we have in the mayor city council, but they are candidates. So we see the incompetence of the PDP and their need to control everything. Just a few persons, they want to control everything and put everything as well into their pockets. But as we campaign and we let persons know, don't forget who are the PDP. Even them trying to reach out to Joshua. Look what they threatened. Look what they did to the vendors. You saw what happened at Joshua Hospital. You saw what happened at the East Bank. We saw what happened in Tilburg. We saw what happened in Mokka. Do you think people are so stupid and blind to not remember, or so short-sighted or have a short memory span to not realize the games and the trickery of the people? So our way or our planning moving forward is to make sure that we're in constant contact with the people and it's never been broken. We continuously to apply legal pressure on the government to make sure they own up to the subventions that they owe us and of course the taxes, and to make sure we're going to make this city a better city. They can talk all they want to talk about our incompetence and this and that. Those are strictly political gimmicks that is used by the PDP to try to paint the PNC, the APNU bad. But the people of Guyana knows better. That is why we've won back Georgetown, we've won back New Amsterdam, we've won back Linden, and so forth in Bartfield and New Amsterdam. So I believe the way forward is a bright way forward and a way forward that will be more forceful on our behalf because people are looking forward for strong representation. They're looking forward for councillors that will not only talk the talk but walk the walk. And I believe that
Mhm.
this council on 2023 is a council that will make sure that happens.
Well, I don't think the PPP had bargained for what they got. They felt that they were, because they had a lot of money to spew around the place, that they were going to be able to buy Tom, Dick, Harry, his son, grandson, granddaughter, his wife, and everybody. But I think reality is now stepping in, and they're understanding now that people are not for sale. People are saying we are not for sale. And when you see the kinds of craziness happen, as a matter of fact, we have seen them jumping up and shouting about, oh, prominent PNC APNU supporters gone across, prominent people gone across, and this one gone across. But they did not recognize that the people who were stepping over, they really didn't matter much to us. And they had no kind of weighting on this campaign because let's look at the reality of the day. They stepped over, but they were all rejected. Let's look at what happened in Linden, and if operator could show us that photo there. Let's look at the persons they had in Linden and all the crossovers. What did the people in Linden do? They rejected them. Let's look at what happened in New Amsterdam. Some prominent ones crossed over. What did the people in New Amsterdam do? Rejected them. The same thing happening in Georgetown. I don't know if operators having those clips there to show us again. But the people in Georgetown rejected them. But you know what? I am waiting to see whether the PPP will continue with the contracts and all those road works that they would have started. Yes, you're seeing there, rejected. Georgetown, team rejected. Linden, team rejected. The same thing happened in New Amsterdam. The same thing happened in Madia. And I mean, when we look at what has happened in Madia just recently, you see, the PPP, like I said earlier, they don't have any shame. They have no shame. So they went to Madia after they killed 20 innocent Amerindian children. They went to Madia pretending as if they're so caring and they want to have the votes of the people when they couldn't even provide a bathroom for those girls to bathe in. And then they want to have the people's vote. And these days people might not be so brave to come out and speak, but they're going to speak when they go with their ballots, they're going to speak through their ballots. And I want to say to you, my brothers and my sisters, continue this fight. Continue to work hard. Continue to educate our people, especially our young voters who are coming up. Because you know what? They can be easily influenced by the $10,000 and the $20,000 and $100,000. But we've got to let them understand that the $100,000, if they were to give you a job, then you would get more than $100,000. And if they really loved you, then they would fix your communities, they would fix your towns, they would give the monies to the municipalities and allow the municipalities to work for the people. But the PPP don't understand that. They understand general control, bullyism, dictatorship. That's what they understand. And I'm happy that with your input, your influence, your dedication, and your continued resilience, the PPP were pushed way back. They can't even scream right now because of how hard they were pushed back. I'll take your closing remarks because I know that when we're having fun, time flies, and we don't want to impinge on the timing for in the ring. So I'm going to take your closing remarks. And I know, of course, we saw the folks in New Amsterdam going out there to thank their supporters. I'm sure Linda and Scott one that they have planned that they're going to be coming up with a bang. And I know that Georgetown is coming with one, and so Bartica, and so would Madia. But let me have your closing remarks.
If I can start first, I just want New Amsterdam to know that they are in good hands. While I am not on the council, I am prepared to ensure that I hold not only the councillors accountable, but every person who is in position in New Amsterdam accountable for service to our people. So I'm saying to each and every one of our New Amsterdammers, you can guarantee service from the people whom you would have voted for. And we will hold them collectively accountable for service. Most importantly, I want you to understand that New Amsterdam, while starved of resources, we will have creative ways to ensure that we get into your community and meet you at the point of your need. So you don't have nothing to be afraid of. We know the devices of the PPP. We know the strategy of the PPP. We know that they will not want to support the council, but we are asking you to do your bit. We are asking you, the citizens of New Amsterdam, to ensure that once you do your bit, we will serve you wholeheartedly.
Good.
Let me just thank you first, MP McDonald, and the program Advancing the Cause. I always say that this helps to advance the cause of what we represent. So, this local government elections, I want to take the time to also thank the people of our community, Linden, that came out in the numbers. We've never seen so many persons participating in the local government elections in our community. 10,000 participated in terms of voters. In 2015, the two elections before, we had 5,000 voters. So I think people responded quite well, and I want to say a big thank you to them for that, and to ensure that they assure them that our continued involvement in the communities will maintain, or in fact be maintained, to the extent that we will return to give thanks with a massive event that we have on Sunday, in a very understanding way of the mood, that we are giving thanks to immediately accelerate what we intend to do in terms of driving a very aggressive agenda moving forward. So I think we've already started to set the tone as early as this week in terms of how we intend to engage other stakeholder partners and how we intend to drive forward, even before any issue with town council and municipal issues. We are taking the campaign itself very aggressively forward on some of the things that we had promised to return to people to give assurance once elected to council.
All right, family. Good night once again. What I can say is that unlimited resources is in the hands of the People Progressive Party presently, but the most valued resource in Guyana is at our disposal, and that is the people. And the hearts of the people are with us. And moving forward, what I can assure you, I will not be on the council, but we have vibrant and young leadership, persons who are equipped with a people centered initiative. And I think this particular concept that is being implemented by us is definitely going to help in the developmental process of members of society. What I can say for sure is that we will collectively use all resources, all skills, all techniques, everything at our disposal to ensure that here in Georgetown, all our constituencies and members within society benefit from some type of human capacity development that is going to help them to grow simultaneously with the economic development that is happening around them. And this is very important in an ever changing economy. And this is something that we understand. This is something that our leaders understand. This is what our candidates understand too as well. So what the people can expect from us is, of course, a listening ear, uh, persons who will actually sit and listen to situations and circumstances being faced, but most importantly, persons who are willing to form some type of cohesion or rapports with various organizations and groups throughout Georgetown. I can speak of, and with this we will find that union that is needed, that family concept that is required, and finally we will have that vision and goal where it's not surrounding just anything that deals with a one Guyana concept, but it helps members of society to embrace what it truly means to be one people, one nation, and one destiny. And this is the
Mhm,
primary objective
mhm,
that we have. And
mhm,
this is exactly what we're trying to implement within society. And the good thing about it, it is that we have reached so far in this local government elections. We came out successful. And the most important concept from that is that we didn't have to give out any contracts or pay anybody to come out
mhm,
and give that support. They recognize and understand where true leadership lies. They recognize and understand what it is they're looking for, not just for themselves and their family and loved ones and friends, but also for the future generation. So members of society could actually expect true development coming from the APNU family, and most importantly, to the young and vibrant leaderships and the support networks behind them that we have. So make no mistakes about it. Next elections, we're taking this thing. But once again, too, we need to be very aggressive. We want persons within society to become what is considered as politically conscious. And of course, collectively together, we will deal with this one day at a time.
thank you. Uh, Kibwe, we got your closing remarks already, Kibwe?
Yes, I just want to say that to the PPP, that people cannot be bought. Slavery would have ended in 1828, and the APNU will not stand by and watch any reinstallation of any slave society. And this whole notion of paying people and trying to utilize the resources that people really need, that our taxpayers' money, pretend like if it's the PPP's money. It's not the PPP's money. It's our taxpayers' money that be utilized against us to try to coerce us to do things their way. This will not work. And we have seen the evidence of this after the elections in June 12th. The APNU will stand strong with its people. We will make sure that people are taken care of, that we continue to act in the interest of people. And what we want our supporters and every person here to understand that we are your servants. We are here to serve your interests. We're not here to tip our shoulders and to behave like we are God Almighty, like the people of God. We are here to make sure that we do all we can to benefit the people of our constituencies, of Georgetown, and across Guyana. And that is our policy. We are a people-centered party. We are for inclusion, including people to be a part of the decision-making process. None of us about need to be people making decisions on behalf of Georgetown or a Clayton Hines or a Gregory Fraser or a Troy Gary. It's about the council inclusive of the people in the communities coming together and looking at programs that can help to develop our communities, that can make safe spaces for children to grow, to make safe spaces for our elderly people to go into retirement, to make safer cities, to make stronger community relations, not only have recreational facilities, to have programs that will make our recreational facilities more accessible and more positive towards our community development. We have a structured plan, a plan that will better Georgetown, a plan that will better this country. As we've said in our rallies and our meetings on this campaign, this election is just a runner-up towards regional and general elections. Beware. This is what we have managed to do in this election with all the resources, our resources that the PDP had to its disposal, and of course our taxpayers' money, which they misused to gain votes or gain attention. We
Mhm.
will make sure that we continue to do the work that we're doing. And with the consciousness of the people of Guyana, we will win the next election. regional general elections against the PPP and reclaim back jobs, and reclaim back New Amsterdam, and reclaim back Limit, and reclaim this country entirely.
Good. So I just wanted to leave with you that we couldn't find monies to give to the municipalities. We couldn't find monies to pay our public servants and our teachers who are languishing. But we found a lot of monies, and not we, the PPP found a whole lot of monies to spread all across this country. $10,000 to wear a t-shirt, $5,000, $20,000, $100,000, $1 million in contract, 15 million, 10 million, all kinds of millions they found to give to people within a short time. But you can't find monies to give to these statutory bodies. You couldn't find monies to pay the teachers. You can't find monies to give public servants a reasonable, decent salary, but you're finding monies to campaign. And this is the wickedness that we must point out at every occasion about the PPP, how wicked they are and how oppressive they are. And they feel that once you keep people begging, once you keep them begging, you have them there. So they'll continue to throw crumbs at people and they'll keep the people there. But persons have decided, citizens have decided, crumbs or no crumbs, we are going to stand with the better party that has the best plan. And that's what the people did on Monday last at the local government, well, you see, at the local government elections. But I want to say to all of us, to our viewers who are listening, you notice taxpayers' monies are being wasted there. Those monies could have been kept to fix the schools, to fix our hospitals, to fix our police stations, to fix so many other offices that we see are lacking. Those same monies that were used to buy those t-shirts. And you know what? As a people, we have got to hold this government accountable. They must explain to us where they got those monies from to do all the kinds of foolishness that they were doing. All the people that they trucked from here and there and everywhere, all those crazy flags that they put up all over the place. But we want them to understand that t-shirts don't vote. Flags don't vote. Jevon, people vote, not t-shirts and flags. And, in closing, I want to encourage you, my brothers and my sisters, to continue to hold on to the coalition, to continue to hold on to APNU, because APNU has the better plan for you. And I'm sure if we had more time, my folks from New Amsterdam, my folks from Linden and Georgetown would have been able to say to you, coming out of the PNC, we were taught and our mandate was always to house, feed, and clothe the nation. And there were many, many schemes that were set up by the PNC all across this country. The roads from Coretta to New Amsterdam, all across this country, they were built under the PNC. Free education, PNC. And so when the PPP go out there and they talk about their building housing schemes, all of that is following what we would have already done. I noticed the operator is just showing us the candidates who were up there. But again, I want to say thank you to you, my guests, for being here. You did make this program a good one. Our viewing audience, they were quite delighted. And I know we're going to be on again another time to keep them posted with more on what you're doing in New Amsterdam, more of what you're doing in Georgetown, in Linden. We're going to have Madia and Bartik in the house at our next program so that our viewers can understand what is happening there. But for now, viewers, stay focused. Don't allow Jagdio to peddle a whole lot of lies and to keep misleading you. The coalition stuck to the task and we came out successful. All those crossovers, we were able to reject them. When you look around and you see some of these people who were in the PNC, in the APNU, you couldn't get them to do a couple of things, but now the PPP got them standing up by the road corner watching drains being cleaned. The PPP got them 4 o'clock in the morning cleaning chicken for barbecue. But who know? If you know, you know, right? And so, viewers, thank you for being with us. My guests, thank you for being here with me. And we are going to do this again for more advancing the cause next week at the same time. Do take care. Mind on the road, because I recognize we're having lots and lots of accidents. And then we saw just the other day, again, a defense rank shooting another one. Be careful. And these are the things that the PPP should be concentrating on. How do we deal with conflict management in our workplaces? How do we deal with our health system? This is what you're supposed to be concentrating on, but they don't have time with that. They want to steal our lands, and we're not going to allow them to do that. Take care. God bless you. See you again next week for more on Advanced.